The Cannabis Show is for information only. You should always consult with a qualified and licensed physician or other medical care provider.
Welcome to the Cannabis Show. Today on the show, Hart shares his views on the opposition of medical cannabis with Heart to Heart. Basil tells us about one of his buds, and we answer your questions on alcohol and tinctures. Keep watching. If you are battling anxiety, restlessness, pain, digestive problems, or even looking to add a little shot of happiness into your day, well, stay right here. May I present to you a Freest Churchill strain. This indica blend has a nice ratio of THC to CBD of 6 to 10. The lower THC can make the strain good for day use. With a higher CBD count, the two cannabinoids work well together and may help keep you focused, relaxed, with pain relief. This strain has some extra punch in terms of terpene power, as Churchill has a good dose of myrcene, caryophyllene, and even a healthy portion of limonene. Myrcene, known to be a muscle relaxant and sedative. However, limonene, which acts as an antidepressant, can bring on sunshine to your day, which in turn does not necessarily knock you out. Add the magic of caryophyllene to treat inflammation, pain, and bowel problems. Let's not forget humulene, which scientists are saying could be used with assisting in weight loss. Churchill is affordable, effective, with a pleasant taste. I would also recommend to try blending or mixing Churchill with your favorite strain. Churchill by Aphria.
Oh, hey there. You know, there's a lot of chatter at the moment from the Canadian Medical Association supporting the idea that the whole medical cannabis program should cease to exist after that magical date of October 17th. They figure that since you'll be able to stroll down to your local cannabis store to purchase things like pre-rolled joints, bud, and oils, you don't need the help of a doctor. Look, I get that the medical cannabis program was basically forced onto physicians in 2014 and placed them as the gatekeeper role. And I get that they want to see more research and study in the area of cannabinoids. But without the medical system in place, there's really no need for doctors to demand that research. And I will note that there has been continued growth in scientific studies that prove its therapeutic value, and in some cases, even more effective than traditional treatment. Having a separate program also allows for certain protections for medical cannabis users. Without the medical program in place, patients will lose things like discounts on medical cannabis. Many medical cannabis patients are living with the help of social assistance programs, and the medical cannabis community has recognized that with compassion pricing in place. As well, many insurance companies have started to cover the costs of medical cannabis. And what about those vets that are currently using medical cannabis for a variety of ailments, including PTSD? Without the medical component, our vets would likely lose the coverage they receive. Things like physician care are also super important to not only adult patients, but to pediatric patients who are currently looking to their physicians for guidance on things like dosing and cannabinoid ratios. And don't think that those new to cannabis can simply speak with staff at a cannabis store to find out what they should be using for certain ailments. Staff in those stores are not allowed to discuss any medical benefits of cannabis at all. And what about those patients that grow their own medicine at home? Yes, the new regulations will allow for individuals of legal age to grow up to 4 plants if their province allows it. But think about it. 4 plants isn't a lot when you could lose crops to mold or insect infestations. And if you're juicing or making your own edibles on a daily basis, that amount may be quite insufficient. Let's not leave patients out in the cold. Demand that a medical cannabis program in Canada be allowed to continue post-legalization.
This is Basil's Buds, where I talk about someone awesome who I kind of wish was my bud. Having been a speaker on the stage at a TED Talk is an elite level accomplishment in itself. Well, Dan Sutton has done that and has been named a top 40 under 40 rising star of cannabis and has founded an ACMPR licensed producer, Tantalus Labs. And the list goes on. I follow Dan on a couple social channels and I find that he does 2 things really, really well. He has an uncanny ability to somehow subliminally force me to anticipate Tantalus cannabis more than Christmas. And he portrays himself as an intelligent, down-to-earth individual who you could chill and have a quality conversation with. And according to some of the bud shots on his social feeds, you know he's bringing some fire to the conversation.
Hey, it's Chris, Hart, Kate, and Basil. And Basil, that Dan Sutton, he sounds like a very interesting fella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great Twitter feed. If you want to follow it, at D Sutton 1986, and really informative feed. Yeah. Smart guy.
He's all over that stuff. It's
I got to follow him for sure. Yeah. And follow Hart too. What's your Twitter address?
That's just at Hart Steinfeld.
It's awesome. I retweet a lot of your stuff. It's great. Yeah, good stuff on there. Also, you're heart to heart, very passionate.
Yeah, it's something that obviously all of us probably believe in quite passionately. I mean, there has to be a medical system once cannabis is legalized recreationally.
Yeah.
There just has to be.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that's just through education.
We'd be leaving a lot of people out in the cold if they took it away. Yeah, it'd be really unfortunate.
Now, when I was doing the Strain Explorer for Churchill from Afria, I was actually thinking of Basil's buds a lot. I found it a very good base strain.
For a blend?
For a blend. It's a 6 THC, 10% CBD, or anybody who's really new to cannabis, I think they should look into trying this one maybe first.
I really dig having that type of product for a base for whatever you're consuming. It helps get that CBD into your body on a regular basis. I've always attributed that to being one of the things that keeps migraines away from me. So just got to get that CBD in you.
And that's Churchill?
Yeah, that's a Churchill, really nice. And like I say, base strain, mixing it around and stuff. Now, we do have a question for you, Kate, with You Can Ask Us Anything, because you can do that on the show. Today's question from Ms. M. And Hart said earlier, is that Mary Jane? All right, so Ms. M, this question for you, Kate. In Kate's Kitchen, episode 74, you talked about making tinctures. What do you recommend for those who can't use alcohol?
Good question. And thank you for watching, Miss M. I think because our buddy here, he doesn't like alcohol at all.
No, I do not.
So you were quick to point out in that episode too that glycerin was an alternative base, I think, that people can use because it is a solvent. So there's only a few solvents that have ever been used with cannabis, and most of them you don't want to be ingesting. So glycerin is a vegetable base, it's an oil, and we had a little lesson from Dr. Kimmons, it's a hydrocarbon, correct? So, and it's a solvent, so it's great to use as a base for your tinctures, which do store really well, by the way, and they're probably more economical too, and you can make any kind of blend of tincture that you want.
Mm-hmm. I know lots of people use tinctures for certain reasons.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like it's kind of like a halfway there product.
Yeah.
I mean, like you could evaporate off that alcohol, or you could get rid of that base that you're using and have a nice, highly concentrated product that you could use as a raw material for so many different things.
Yeah, it's a real thick oil at that point. Mm-hmm. I've made that mistake a couple of times. But.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, tinctures are great, but maybe you want to look into other methods of ingestion.
Might be easier.
Yeah. I mean, I know that the question was specifically around tinctures, but it's nice to look at other.
Yeah.
True enough. Yeah. Like back when, before Prohibition, that was a huge way that doctors would prescribe cannabis was through tinctures, like 80% or something was a tincture base. And so it's got that.
Actually, it does have a medical flavor to it. And if it is just cannabis, it could be a really good thing. Maybe that's the way we got to go. Almost like those single dose syringes you were talking about on that episode.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ms. M, for your question. And if you have a question for The Cannabis Show, our email address is thisisthecannabisshow@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.